All in audio experience.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the All In Audio Experience, man. It's Jordan here, and I got my guy Trent. Where you at?
Yes, sir. Out in Orlando. Got a great episode for y'all today.
Yes, sir. We got a very special guest, man. He's an artiste, man. He's a painter. He's also a business owner, so y'all definitely check that man merchandise and all that good stuff out. I got Selah.
Yes, yes. Happy to be here. I appreciate y'all
Yes,
for
sir.
having me here, man. For real.
Whole lot of that, man. It took me 17 times, but I got your name right, bro. I got your name
You
right, bro.
did. I was like, yes.
Bro, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh man, but yeah, it's a blessed day, man. Just let the people know, like, man, how's these last couple weeks been for you? Actually, before I even go there, man, before I even go there, I gotta say, shouts out to you. Thank you, bro, for coming to the event. He came out, he put out his pieces for everybody to see at the Huntsville Nights event, bro. So salute to you, bro. Appreciate that.
Oh yeah, it's all
Hmm.
love, man. Thank you for including me. You know, I gotta support y'all. Support me. It's only right.
For sure, for sure. We definitely appreciate that, man. So let's go back a little bit. We're gonna get into a couple things, but I saw you a couple months ago. Trent wasn't there at the
Yeah.
Valley 256
256.
Festival. We was out there in the heat getting
Yeah,
it.
it was
You know,
hot.
it was so hot, bro. We was looking like some melted chocolate out there. We was
For
burning
real.
up.
For
it
real.
was it was a little rough. But what was cool was like you were out there doing your thing. You was live painting, man. So
Yeah.
I always just thought that was cool when I would see you do it, bro. Like, what was the first time you were what was that like? Like what is that? Can you describe that experience for just the listeners?
So the first time, or
Just live painting.
the
What's it
first
like?
time, I was scared. Sometimes I still get a little nervous. I'm not even gonna hold you. I still get nervous, um, because I'm a type of artist where I don't like too much structure.
Okay.
I like my creative process to be felt.
Okay.
So that's that's just the way my mind works when it comes down to producing imagery and all that good stuff. So the first time I was just like, man, I was sweating. I had to like go to the bathroom and just like get my head straight because, in a sense, I don't like using the word perfectionist, but
Yeah.
I am intentional about everything that I do when it comes down to canvas and paint. And so for me to be able to like have an audience watching your every move and then seeing like the mistakes, seeing like the unfilteredness about it, it was just like, oh, this is nerve wracking. They're gonna judge my artistry. They're gonna make it. I'm gonna seem like I'm not equipped or I haven't been doing this for a minute. And I know like, after a while, it's kind of like I don't know, weighed off a little bit, and I was able to just get comfortable in a sense where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna let whatever happen happen.
Okay.
You know, so
Yeah. Cause
but
it's
yeah.
like that little monologue in your head goes through you when like you ever like doing something in public. It's like it's totally different from doing it, in the your comfort space. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
no, that's dope for real.
Yeah. So when you do a live painting, do you have an idea of what you're going to paint already, or is it just do you try to, just freestyle it?
It depends on the event. Like I usually like to talk to the people running the event first to let them know, exactly who I am as an artist because I don't like to be too confined. But if they're really okay, we really need this hard time frame for you to be finished, then I will have something already like sketched out, like maybe on my phone or in my head, because I have photographic memory, so I can kind of like go back and pick it in my brain. So I
Hmm.
usually have a plan, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So like when you're like structuring like cuz you did a mural as well, so like when you're doing like different size paintings, like
Hmm.
how do you like mentally I guess like get the dimensions down? Do you like literally like measure it or do you like kind of freehand it?
It's crazy enough. I freehand. I have to go look at the space, and then my mind does like the calculations with portions.
Okay.
So I could look at the space and be like, okay, that's gonna be about 3 feet. That's gonna be about 13.5 inches. Like I
Okay.
just kind of know based off like the way my arm is gonna have to stretch.
All right.
So I had to see the space first, and
All
then
right.
I can like, okay, this is gonna be this, that, and the third, and then how much time is gonna take. Okay, so I know I can physically get this done in this amount of time. So I do all those calculations about looking at it, and then I make my final decision. Based off like, okay, what's the budget or how many days you want to get this done. Sometimes, I need this done in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's not possible. So,
I got you.
yeah.
And your experience kind of lets you know, like, okay, this is gonna take this amount of time. I get a feeling. You in the kitchen, you're the like, yeah. So if you want to make this a pinch of this, about a little bit of
Word.
that, you're
Yeah,
that one of them, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like that. Trent, you're more of the exact calculations guy, aren't you?
Mm,
No, okay,
to be honest, I'm not. Even
okay.
though I'm like an engineer, you would think I'm more calculated, but
Yeah, I'm definitely finna snitch to your physics teachers.
yeah, but no, it's science is like and even like chemistry is like it's like cooking. It's like sometimes you just kind of let things go. You can have a plan, an idea of how you want to go about things, but science is gonna take you wherever you want to go. So you got to just be open to that too.
That makes sense. You have told me a couple times that science is an art too. Like when you're going
That's what it
about it.
sounds like when he described it. I'm like, that's art,
Yeah,
you know?
so
Yeah,
so.
for sure. So let me say this. So we met. I don't remember which event it was exactly. I don't know if it was Steph's event or Blake's event, but we did a small interview, and so
Yep.
that was a great opportunity to tap in with you. Number one, so I'm grateful for that and building that relationship from there. Because I don't think Jordan was at that one.
Mm-mm.
So let's go ahead and kind of tap in because we want this full interview to give the people who you really are and
Okay.
um,
And ask whatever y'all want. I'm unfiltered. I'm a book, so just
All right, bet,
don't
bet,
feel
bet.
like y'all gonna offend me or
Okay.
we ain't gonna touch on that.
Okay.
Go
Let's
there.
take it back. Let's take it back for sure.
so yeah, man. How did it start, man? When did you start painting?
You want the real story or you want the story I kind of give?
The real story.
All
We
right.
want the real, yeah, yeah.
The real story, man.
So it all started, um, as children, we always kind of trying to find our way, right?
Yeah.
We don't really know what we're doing. We trying to really just express ourselves. I had a really rough time growing up into adolescence, basically expressing myself. Environmental issues, things like that, single mom, you know, shootings.
And
you
what
know.
location were you in?
At this time, we moved around a lot, but most of my learning times or learning curves happened in Connecticut, New Haven, Bridgeport, both of those areas. We moved back and forth in the city, and it was really rough out there. We were number 2 on the murder rate, on like murder cap for like that year. I think the year before was Detroit, and then we hit number 2. So it was a lot going on, and it was kind of hard to be expressive living in those type of environments because you don't want to be an oddball. You don't want to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the square nail or something is whatever that saying is. I know what you mean though.
But
You gotta wear a mask.
you had to wear a mask, and you didn't. If you look soft, they robbing you, or X, Y, and Z.
Facts.
So I had to find some way to find an outlet, some way to express. And even before that, my mom always gave me like sketchbooks, things like that, because when I was younger, I wasn't verbal,
Okay.
so I didn't speak a lot, and that was rough on my mom because she thought I was gonna have to live with that for the rest of my life. So she tried to force me into doing a lot of activities, and that's the only thing I clung to was art.
Okay.
So moving forward back into the adolescence, we moved around in the environment. It kind of gave me a little bit of a shock, and I dealt with a lot of trauma, but I was still forced to express myself. Still wasn't talking as much, but I was still, doodling, supposed to be doing my work in class.
Facts.
I'm drawing on the papers and stuff, so my teachers were like, you know what? He's not stupid, he's passing, he's just doing his work late. So we got to figure out how to keep him on track, right? So they started putting me into these I don't know what they used to call them, but there were programs for underprivileged kids, and it would bring them to. I wouldn't say it's like a boys and girls club, but they're like exclusive arts clubs, groups that go on like trips and stuff for
Okay.
the privileged.
That's
And
nice.
so they had like money set aside for underprivileged districts.
That's tough.
They
I like
put
that.
me in there, and then from there, I got exposed to other art forms, other groups of people who expressed themselves proudly, didn't really care about being judged.
Mhm.
They didn't care about being wrong. They just expressed themselves through art form. And then that kind of shift my mindset. Like I could do this back in the hood. I could go back home and still be who I am without having to feel like I'm not me. And
Facts.
so from there, pushed forward, I started to do painting live on the streets. Started
Okay.
in the hoods, so I would have like, people come and walking by like, yo, that's dope, respecting it.
Tough.
And then from there, I'm like, all right, so there's nothing wrong with this. I can continue doing this and being who I am. I don't have to be on the corner. I don't have to be a gangbanger. I don't have to, I can do this and still be who I am without, So,
And this is like an oil canvas. This isn't like graffiti, is it?
nah, I actually did graffiti.
Okay.
I can't disclose locations, but I did do a lot of graffiti.
Okay.
My first approach to canvas or whatever you want to call it was wood. I started getting wood scraps. So I would find
Okay.
wood scraps around trash cans, or I would go to like, when I would get a little money after I sell a painting, I would go to Home Depot and they have like a scrap pile.
Okay.
And so instead of me spending money on canvas or spending my money
Okay, I
on
got you.
like,
You get more,
expensive wood, I get something for like $2 or $3.
get more bang for your buck.
Big boards, and I would just to go crazy on those boards. And then from there, whatever, it moved on to graffiti. And so it's a funny story. One year, my mom, it was Mother's Day. It's like, hey, yo, Mom, you want to go out and do some graffiti for Mother's Day? She was like, yeah. I was like, word? Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
So we went out. Crazy story, right? We went out. We did some graffiti. We put, mom and son on there with the heart and all that. And then afterwards, the law enforcement came driving by.
Oh.
So she seen him. I didn't see him. She seen him down the block. So we putting the cans in the bag, duffel bag, real quick. I got paint all over my hands, mind you. And she's like, all right, I'm trying to think of a game plan. So if they come, we're going to have to split. So she's like, I'm going to run this way. If they, I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to run that way. So hands in my pocket so they don't see me, all the paint on my hands or whatever. And they just kind of slowly crept and looked at us and just kept going. And I was like, that's just a core memory I'm always going to remember because, she actually, like, put herself in my world for a
No,
minute.
that's dope for real. That's dope for real. Imagine you getting caught with red hands and being like, it wasn't me.
Definitely you said that.
Oh, so weak. Nah,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy, bro. So I wanted to ask. I noticed a lot of pop culture references in your work. Can you just what's a couple of like some stuff you used to get into as a kid?
I was a big anime kid,
sure,
believe
for
it or
sure.
not.
That's why I asked.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
notice some of it.
I just after watching so much of it, I started to get unattached to the line structure that they have in a lot of the anime. If you see that it's really fluid, sometimes it's a little bit edgy, but it still has curvature to it. And they do a lot of like layering with their shading, but it's one dimensional. And I was like, okay, this is cool, and I love the story of it. And so I gravitated more towards the story rather than the actual imagery.
Okay.
And so I try to like keep my playfulness when it comes down to like cartoons and stuff where you see like the pop of color and all that. So I want to continue to keep that alive so anybody at any age can see it and they're like, wow, this makes me feel good.
Facts. No, that's one reason I fell in love with anime too. Was actually the writing was the storytelling was so different from like American comics, like the story structure and how they would like they would go so deep into like character development, like in a different way than American stuff. Like it was mind blowing for me. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's dope for real.
Yeah, so I mean, how did you kind of tap into your style of more of an abstract artist, and when did you find that lane?
Mm-hmm. Mm. I was in New Haven at the time. Um, it was my last year in high school, and so at that age or at that time, like, what am I gonna do in my life? Am I gonna go to college? Am I gonna like just figure it out, do 9 to 5s? And so throughout figuring out what I was gonna do, I kept painting, and I was still doing a lot of pieces, but I would branch downtown. I was like, why am I doing this in the hood when I could go downtown? And so knowing that I could do it downtown, it was kind of like, okay, now I'm thinking like in a business mindset. So the first instant I had a journalist approach me from Yale, because Yale is downtown. And so she's like, yo, your work looks like Basquiat. I kept hearing that. I'm like, okay, it's a dope name, but okay, whatever.
Oh, you didn't know who Basquiat was?
Man, no clue.
Oh, okay.
No clue. So I didn't start studying art history yet. I was still trying to find my way as a voice.
I got you.
And boom, that happened. Set up another area. 2 or 3 people stopping me. Hey, yo, that's dope. You look like Basquiat work. It's like, why they keep saying that? Who is this guy? All right, move to another location downtown in the Yale area. Hey, can I buy that? You're like the ghost of Basquiat, like the ghost. And then I kept hearing that all around New Haven, ghost of Basquiat. So I'm like, who is Basquiat? How you spell that? So I started doing my Googles, right? And I found out, his story, and it scared me because his approach was exactly the same exact way I was implementing my work.
What's that approach?
All right. His work was very unorthodox, and so he did paint with emotion. He was very calculated with his messages, so he would encrypt things into his work, layers, very condensed, very tight work. He didn't leave space or room, and he just allowed his colors to speak. He still kept a childful plainness, like scribbles.
Yeah.
He accentuated, like, how do you say, just features of people on a basic form level. And so I was like, oh man, this is wow. Even the materials, he would use anything he could, but more importantly, he used oil sticks. And I loved oil sticks. That's what I was using, spray paint and oil sticks. And oil sticks is basically like a stick that is, it's like a pigment. Well, it is a pigment. And it's like compounded or compact into a roll. And so when you use it, it smears, right?
It looked like it's like little paint crayon looking things.
It looked just like it, but it's like about this thick.
Okay, it's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And you could just use it and smear it, manipulate it however you want. And I used to love that because it just gave me so much freedom, and it was just raw. I gave a real raw emotion. And my idea was to be able to create pieces where you can be feet away, and you'll be able to still feel the impact of the vibrancy. Okay. And when I found out who he was, I was like, all right. I started going to more of the galleries in the area. In Yale, New Haven, they have a museum there downtown, and basically they have one of his biggest pieces in their gallery, in their museum. And I went to go study it, and I was just like blown away, basically, because you see the oil sticks, you see a lot of the similarities of that style I was doing at the time. And so I kind of really got tired, to answer your question, Trent. I got tired of getting that comparison, to be honest. It was an honor, but I didn't want to be nobody's shadow. I
Yeah, you
didn't
want to be your own man.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? For sure.
I didn't want to be nobody's ghost, anything like that. And so basically I started to dig deeper into why I was actually approaching the work the way I was. I had to really like, okay, this is becoming more of a routine or a habit, or I was comfortable with creating in this manner, but why am I doing that? And so after I dug into it and started to understand the way my creative process worked mentally, I started to say, okay, I can actually like take this away and associate it with why I was actually doing it that way. And over time, I wanted to kind of break down things into more of I won't say simple because nothing is simple about it. I wanted to break things down into more of a understanding way,
Okay.
where you don't have to um, get confused when you see what is going on with the piece.
I got you. You wanted to be clear, like over clever, I guess.
Clear. I still want to keep some sort of cleverness to it, but just be clear.
Okay.
Let them know exactly what you're trying to say.
No, you said something with my bad, Trent. Did I cut you off?
Oh no. Keep
Um,
going.
with just like wanting to be like your own, because when you're creating something, that's something I noticed is like you can be inspired by something, but there's like a fine line between like you're over consuming their work and following their path as opposed to following your own. And so it's a fine line because you want to consume like quality work. You know what I'm saying? It's good to like see things that inspire you,
Right.
but like there's like an overconsumption that can happen if you cross that line because
Yeah.
it bleeds into your own work. You know what I'm saying?
You're just biting at that point.
Yeah,
You
it
don't
is.
want to bite.
And it's something that's not even intentional sometimes, but it's a fine line. I feel like I go through that sometimes when I'm trying to create like videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see something dope on IG and I'll be like, I have to like, I don't know what's the word, detox it, for a little while. So you know what I'm saying? No, I feel that.
And it's like the art world, the consumers, the buyers, they're ruthless. And so that can really put your value very low. If you're doing too much of what another artist is doing, and then they don't respect you. And if they don't respect you, your work means nothing.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but
Yeah.
it kind of does matter.
I see. I see what you're saying. I see it. And it's almost like a respect thing for yourself too, because it's like you want to, you have your own path. You want to actually explore that. You don't want to start going down somebody else's. 'Cause that's already been paved. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna see anything new from going down somebody else's path.
Right.
But no, that's pretty crazy.
So that's how I started. Where I am now, that's how it started to where I am now.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you were like kind of getting towards the end of high school and I guess getting in towards the college age, like what did you ever? Was there ever a time where when you wait before I ask that, when you were in school, were you like did you have like an art teacher, this, that, and the other?
I was always in the art room.
You was always in okay, bet.
Yeah.
So was there ever a time where they tried to like put you in or tell you to like choose like realism or like a style of art? Were you ever like pushed towards like choosing like a path like that, or was it always like your choice?
I felt like I was an experiment because they were
Okay.
just giving me stuff and it was like,
Okay.
try this, and I would try it. And then it was like, okay, wow, that's crazy. Try this. And then, so they were just allowing me to pick each range. And then I guess according to what I was doing at a master level while I was in high school, they was like, stick to this.
Stick to that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you always had like pretty good teachers around you to like not like stifle your creativity.
I don't know, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Of course, teachers that are hired or working in those areas, they don't really care about their job.
Okay.
So you can see it within the profession, in the education system specifically when they're teaching. You have a few that care, but a lot of them didn't care. But my art teacher, she was thoroughbred. She actually held it down and pushed me. That's one thing she told me. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be famous and all this other stuff. Like she believed in me, and she, anytime I got in trouble, she got me. Like
She got you
come
right.
here.
Like you tripping.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. Yeah, I had one teacher like that.
Yeah,
I've been talking
yeah.
about her. She got me right into writing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I didn't really care that much or have any like strong like guy. Like I just did what I needed to do to not be in trouble until I got in that English class, and she just made it fun. She
Yeah.
made it fun.
Yeah, I had a good English teacher as well, and they got me introduced into free writing, and I started getting into slam poetry.
Okay.
I did that for a while, did like stand-up mics and stuff, and I just kind of like slowly pushed myself away from it because painting started consuming me more at a greater level. But yeah, I love writing as well.
I got you. Nah, that's dope. Trent, I need a. What was your favorite teacher at Sparkman? We went to the same high school.
Oh, y'all went to school in Huntsville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Favorite teacher at Sparkman, bro.
Ooh. I don't. can I just give? mm,
What you about to go to Morehouse?
Nah, I could do that, but I guess kind of, cause y'all kind of tapped in on teachers that kind of gave y'all a little direction or motivation to
Mm-hmm.
move into where you kind of centered yourself, whether it's writing or your artistry.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say in middle school, it was like math. It was like two black math teachers, and
Oh, okay.
also like having somebody like Amos that was one of those people that was in the same realm of like science and mathematics. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say I had Miss Hill and Mr. Kennedy. They was like two people you didn't see a lot of black teachers. One, but in
Mm-hmm.
math, either like come on, that was some people that really pushed me to kind of continue to get better with my skills in math, and then I just knew I wanted to be an engineer on top of that. So
Nah, that's dope. Shout out to them, and shout out to Amos too.
Shout out to the teachers who care.
Facts.
mm for sure. So you ended up going to Oakwood.
Yeah.
Um, how did you end up in Huntsville and then ultimately choosing Oakwood?
A lot of people ask me that question. All right, y'all want the other version or the unfiltered version? Which one
Filter,
y'all
bro.
want?
You know what we want, man. We want
All
that.
right.
We want the truth.
And there's no slander when I tell this story. You know what I mean? All is well.
Unless they deserve. I'm just playing.
You know, you're trying to find yourself. You're chasing behind things. I mean, this particular situation, it was a young lady who I was invested in, and my environment wasn't suiting me. Like I told you, it was more gang violence. It was a lot of, a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I started really getting heavy into my spirituality. At this particular time, I was drowning, and I was working like two jobs to stay afloat. You know, and actually, I was working three jobs. Yeah, I was working three jobs. I was working at Walmart, I was working at J.C. Penney, and I was working at this jeweler in the mall. And I was round the clock. I was working off like 5 hours of sleep, get up and go. I was drowning, you know. And so one day, this young lady came into the store. I saw her. I shot my shot. She introduced me to SDA. I had no idea what this was. Nobody in my family was exposed to this. And so she kind of gave me information about what it was. And then from there, I started to dig deeper into my spiritual growth. And so I already knew, like, the Roman calendar. And then, all right. And then from there, I made the decision because she was like, yo, you need to come down to Oakwood. It'll be good for you. I'm like, Alabama? No, sir.
I'm weak.
like,
Okay, so you still in Connecticut at this
yeah,
point?
I'm still in
Okay,
Connecticut. I'm like, no, I'm not going down there right now.
Nah, I said the same thing, bro.
Stereotypes, thinking about tumbleweeds flowing through the wind.
I'm
and
so
all
weak.
this.
That's definitely Western,
So,
bro. That's
yeah.
Texas.
I'm thinking like, I'm like, I don't want to get, racially profiled or nothing like that. Anyway, so, I'm like, all right, I'll try it. I applied, I got accepted, right? And it was one of the roughest moments of my life. I sold my cars for tuition money. That's all I had. Packed one bag, sold my cars, had tuition. Didn't have enough room aboard though. So when I got down here, I got in, and I just kind of like I kept painting, and God made things work out for me in terms of getting me a room and board. I still didn't have a car, so I was just like catching rides, catching a taxi to go to work every day until I got myself situated. And from there, I took a detour from painting. I went into a different field that didn't really align with my 5-year plan
Okay.
at the time. And
What was that?
so I did investigative work with child welfare, like
Okay.
what do they call it now? They do protective services.
CPS.
Yes.
I got you.
So I did a lot of work with that, and it was very stressful, very trauma based, very like it had nothing to do with art,
I got
but
you.
it was geared towards the kids, and so I've always had a passion for kids. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So within that, I dealt with a lot of kids who had delays, developmental delays, things
Okay.
of that nature. That had a special place on my heart, because we all don't come from strong cognition or functionality. And so I started to pour into those kids who were troublemakers in the school because I knew they had something that was rooted, that was causing these frustrations. They just didn't understand why life wasn't fair for them. So I started to pour to them in this particular field. I think, like, God put me in that situation to give back or to connect them and to sow those seeds so they can see, like, okay, there's more things, there's more ways I can express myself rather than just making the wrong decision, right? And so moving from that, I did that for a while, and then I discovered art therapy.
Okay.
So I said, oh, this is a field where I can still minister, if you will, or just talk to the youth, get them on the right path, and also strengthen their creative thinking. So I can just give them the healing that they need all together, killing like 3 or 4 birds on one stone.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can still be close to the art.
Still be closer to art, And so from that, that's what I got out of Oakwood, along with a very strong spiritual connection with God. Hence, that's where Selah ultimately came from. Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Mhm.
So you get into Oakwood, and you get into the what's the program called again? The crime investigation. When did you cross over and get back into art?
After I hit a brick road, my back was against the wall. I had to make a decision. Your spirit will tell you when things aren't serving you anymore.
Okay.
It was one of those things I couldn't ignore. I would
Okay.
wake up and had this like burning sensation, like you need to transition.
Yeah.
You need to, because you can't go into anything. I've always been a big believer. I don't put myself into any situation if my heart isn't in it.
Okay.
And I don't like to. I feel like I'm selling myself out. I feel like I'm not giving myself enough credit. And yeah. So that was happening every day, and I would wake up. I'm like, man, this don't feel right. And then you don't perform well because your heart isn't in it. And so, in my office, I would just have paintings all over, like the whole office, just paintings all on the walls. I covered every wall with a painting. And I would have my colleagues come by, like, where you get these works from? Where you get this art from? I'm like, I did that, right? Like,
For sure.
you in the wrong profession, brother.
I'm weak.
Like,
I'm weak.
so I'm like,
It's
yeah,
funny how
like,
everybody can know, but you.
Yeah, just, And so I'm like, you know what? I know this is what I should be doing, but I was too afraid to take it on full time. I don't, the structure. I don't know if I'm actually going to make the sales. How am I going to eat, survive? I'm not going back to where I was.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So, let me buy that painting off you. Let me know if you're going to bring another one in. I know people. Now it's how, like, it just started boom, 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 connections here, boom, boom. And shout out to Corey, DJ CEO. And
Shout out to the guy.
he was like looking out. I don't know if he want me to even put that out there, but he was one of the biggest supporters that actually like put me into the space of everyone else.
Okay.
He seen some of my works and he was like, "Yo, bro, you on?" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
and so from there, I was just like, man, I gotta believe in myself more because there's no way I'm coming to this office every day and I just feel miserable, like depressed, and just like this don't feel right. So every time I bring a painting into work, I would sell it. I won't even come back. It won't even make it to my office. So I was like, okay, something's going on here. Then from that, through connections and networks, I started getting people in the community finding out about who I was. And then I started landing different opportunities and started displaying some of my talents.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Man. And I also, so you transitioned out, but I know you also mentioned, I guess when we was at the event, that you studied graphic design,
Mm-hmm.
and that you kind of mess around with that still.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how is that, I guess, different? I mean, that's still a form of art, but how is it different, and how is that useful if it is for you now as an artist?
Okay. Yeah, so part of the reason why I was working three jobs was because I went to school for graphic design first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I had all this money over my head.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm
So
like,
you
yo,
had you had them bills. I got
I had, yeah, I had bills. And so I'm like, okay, I got to do something because this is not the life. Ramen noodles and PBJ
you.
is not
Facts.
going to do it. So,
Man.
yeah, so I was working hard. And to answer your question, I knew that the money was there, but at the time it kind of really wasn't. When I got the degree, and I'm like, yo, this is a scam. So, but things are
Mhm.
better now. You know what I mean? Things are better now. But yeah, uh, I didn't want to be in front of a computer all day. That's just the real answer. I didn't want to. It didn't. I needed to move. I needed to, be physical and connect. Being there in front of the blue screen was affecting my eyes. I didn't have energy. Um, my creative thought was just decreasing. I couldn't like really go out and be inspired by life and nature. So I started seeing a big issue, and I'm like, this is not for me.
I got
So I let it go. I mean, I still do stuff here and there, like album covers. I've been having a lot of people hit me up um, recently about doing album covers in my style, which I love because it's like I get to like do digital um, setups of my style for them. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I used to do logos for companies. I used to help start up brands with advertisement, marketing, things of that nature, all from what I learned in school. And so I applied that, made some good cash off of that for a while, and then I just really took that transition to paint on canvas and really allow that to consume me more than anything else because everything else is becoming a distraction at the time. And it's cool to do commissions. No, don't get me wrong. I still do commissions. So if y'all need some, hit me up by all means. But at the time,
those still swinging. You feel me?
y-
Don't forget.
yeah, I just needed to tap in because I wasn't at a level where I was comfortable displaying these works. Of course, I was selling it, but I wasn't comfortable putting it into a gallery or a museum. So that's why I kind of slowed down with graphic design or whatever.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So I got a little segment I want to do real quick, man. It's called Start Bench Cut. You ever heard of that?
Nah,
They,
nah.
they,
Well,
all
I
right.
seen it in one of the episodes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
usually you do it with like an athlete or like your favorite artist. So your favorite gets started, the second gets benched, and then the third gets cut.
All right.
All right, so the first one's gonna be mediums. Mediums.
Mm.
First one canvas. Second one wood. Third one digital. So like Adobe Illustrator. Start bench cut. Which would you?
That's hard.
Ooh.
Yo, that's hard. Nah, it's hard because I've been in Adobe a lot lately, like doing like promoting my own stuff for these exhibitions.
Okay.
So I've been like connected. But then I know it's a love hate relationship because I'm not gonna do that for like months at a time like I can with painting.
Okay.
I could do painting straight for 6 months, take a break, or all year take a break. I'm gonna definitely put canvas, but that's hard though. That's hard. That's hard. I'm gonna do canvas as a start.
Start in the
I'm gonna
canvas.
bench wood and then I'm gonna cut digital.
Cut digital.
Yeah, but my next show, not the three that's coming up, but the next show you're gonna see a lot more woodwork.
Okay. Okay. We ready
I do
for
have
it?
one piece that is a woodwork in this show coming up at Low Mill, but
Okay.
yeah, I guess we'll talk
We're
about
gonna have to talk about that in a second. We're gonna have to talk about that in a second. Would you ever do like a big digital canvas?
I actually am.
Oh,
Right now, yeah.
okay. Shh. Let me. Ooh, my fault.
Yeah.
My fault. All right, I got one more for you. Start bench cut. Michelangelo,
Oh,
Vincent Van Gogh,
oh,
Leonardo da Vinci.
Van Gogh, off the top. Van
start-
Gogh, I'm
you-
starting Van Gogh.
Okay.
Da Vinci or Mike. Mm, Da Vinci, I'm going bench. I'm going to cut Mike.
Oh, Mike got cut.
Yeah, because I didn't see anything really original with Michelangelo.
Okay.
A lot of that stuff was all going on at his particular time. Da Vinci did a lot of things where he decoded stuff. I like that. He really decoded stuff in his work, and he did a lot of parallel imagery in his work.
Okay.
So
I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
Like, say for instance, you ever seen like a kaleidoscope and you turn the inside and it's a prism and it reflects off one side to the other.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what his paintings. You can literally flip them in half.
Oh, that's
reverse them,
hard.
And you got
For
an
real?
image that reflects within itself.
No, that's tough.
Ooh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nah, that's tough.
Ooh.
So that's
Nah,
Yeah,
Da Vinci,
bro
you
go
goaded
hard.
for that
He go
one. Da Vinci, you goaded for that one. Oh, that's tough. All right, Trent.
Yeah, well,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, we can tap into these events now. I mean, since it's kind of got brought up, let's go ahead and give these people a little taste of what they're going to see for the next month. Well,
Okay.
a few months.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. So
Talk
start
about
with the first one. What's the first one coming up?
The first one is gonna be at Low Mill.
What's the date?
The date is gonna be April 5th, all the way through June 3rd. You have time to show up. Just submerge yourself into the works. I got a little bit more. I don't know if I said cultural. I don't know if that's the right word, but relatable. I got a little bit more relatable with these works because there was a lot that was toying on me that I wanted to kind of talk about. And so there's a few things that are very, I guess they could be controversial
Okay.
if you want to look at it
So
like that.
going back, what's the name and theme of this one?
The name is If These Walls Could Talk.
Okay.
Okay, so the theme is basically each piece on the wall should be able to give you something. It should be able to say something to you. You want to be able to look at the work and actually allow that communication through vibration. When I mean vibration, the colors, the vibrancy, you should be able to feel what you're looking at, and it should be able to touch you in a way where you understand what it's saying without using words.
Okay.
So I wanted to call it If These Walls Can Talk. And I got some things that really make you emotional. I got some things that make you angry, some things that make you feel loved. There's a little bit of everything. So yeah, Low Mill, April 5th. I'll be there on the opening, and then we also will be having a closing reception to be announced. I'll be posting that on my social media for the reception. So pull up, come through, have a good time.
A lot of that.
Yep.
Oh, you about to say something, Trent?
Oh, no, I was just saying, everybody pull up.
Oh, yeah. The second event is an event that I'm curating. This will be my second curated event here in Huntsville. And it's going to be a speakeasy art gallery. Yeah. I wanted to do something that was a little spicy. Like, I never heard of nothing like that before. You know, you heard of speakeasies that are bars, but I wanted to add another element to it, like underground. So it's going to be underground.
That's tough.
That's going to be April 20th and 21st. And me and a great artist, he's a producer, KR, his name is Kevin. He's collaborating with me with the aesthetic, the logistics, everything. So he's been putting in work, and I just want to shout him out because he does a lot of, producing, mixing, and mastering, and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Definitely look out for him.
Do I need to pull out the suspenders for this one? Do I need to?
Yeah, man. He's all right. So the way this event is going to be structured is going to be on a Thursday and a Friday. Thursday is going to be a special RSVP, and you got my verbal invitation right now.
Yes, sir. Exclusive.
Yes. Plus spawns. We're going to have, there's going to be wine hors d'oeuvres. There's going to be a few things there that'll be worthwhile. And then Friday is going to be the general public, and those tickets are going to be going on sale for $10. And like I said, we have everything priced, manageable for whatever you're looking for. So don't expect that we're going to be trying to break your pockets. It's not about that.
Bust you over the head, my boy.
But we do got some prices for specific tax brackets.
Okay.
And so Thursday is going to be the exclusive event for specific group of people that we know have been supporters, who know have been involved in our process for a long time and just really support us. So we want to be able to give them our thank yous.
Okay, for sure. Definitely, definitely.
So I would like y'all to come on the Thursday event,
Okay.
and then Friday, just the general public. If you
Okay.
have friends, whatever. Yeah. And so, yeah, I just think that's going to be a vibe. We're going
Appreciate
to have
that, bro.
live music. Yeah, no doubt. We're going to have live music there. Yeah, so, yeah, I want to say so much, but I want to, keep the mystery a little
okay,
bit.
Okay.
And so I'm really
yeah.
proud about that project. Key West, I'll be having a solo show in Key West. That's going to be in May.
That boy international.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Paris has been on my radar. I have someone I've been talking to in Paris for some things. We're still working on logistics, and so
Okay.
I just hope that pulled through because I'm so happy about that.
In
But
due time, bro. In due
yeah.
time.
also, Huntsville Hospital, I've been doing some work with them. I have my second showing there at Huntsville Hospital.
That boy hustling. I like that, bro. I like
Happy
that, bro.
about that.
Mhm.
That boy getting around.
What else?
You've been so consistent too, bro. Like it's been like 2 years since I think you and Trent first met for that interview.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a smooth 2 years, bro. You ain't stopped since then, bro. Like wherever we've been at, you've been at, and more. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like I appreciate that. Like just seeing your
Yeah.
dedication to just your vision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what it is? It's like when you take some days off and then you get comfortable.
Facts. It's like an itch. It's like,
It's
bro,
like-
what's nah, bro. This ain't what I've been on. This don't feel
Mhm.
right.
And I just know, like, I want to be able to leave something behind. I love giving back. Like, I don't want to. You don't want to live this life and not make an impact. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's been so many family members. It's been so many friends that coulda, shoulda, woulda. They had so much potential but didn't actually make it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be another statistic. And I feel like so many millionaires, so much money, it's enough out here for us to get it.
For sure.
Everybody got 24 hours, like they say. So what am I gonna do with mine? And if I'm just sitting back and not doing anything, what good is that doing for the generation that's gonna come after me?
Yeah. What you're talking about like, is self-actualization, because like we want to get the money and the generational wealth for the people that come after us, but even more than that, like leaving a legacy is something even bigger than that. Like you want people to code an ashe in 30, 300 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's something different. We want people studying like the books that Trent left behind. You know what I'm saying? Or his theory of electro whatever. I don't know. Or, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we trying to do out here, man, and that's the message we trying to send to even the kids younger than us. You know what I'm saying? Because we all gonna have kids at some point,
Yeah.
God willing.
Yeah.
And so we want them to know that like when we had our time, we didn't waste it away. 'Cause,
Yeah.
we ain't getting these years back.
I want kids to, or people my age too.
Yeah.
Art is cool, man. You don't have to be what everybody else think you should be. I didn't, art is, man, if you like it, do it. That's it. If you love it, you love it. And you shouldn't let nobody tell you anything else. You know what I'm saying? So, and furthermore, I feel like, mind if I rant real quick, but
Go ahead, rant.
I
man.
feel
It's a
like, man,
podcast.
art has been put in a back burner. We went through the first Renaissance era, the Harlem Renaissance, and that was one of the biggest impacts for art. And so many successful people. We got greats like Maya Angelou, you know what I'm saying? So many others that came out of this period, right? And it just dropped. We haven't had another height in the art industry since then. And so we're living in that time frame now. And, a lot of people are buying more art. A lot of people are more submerged into the arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to be able to utilize this time to write my story and just allow it to be embedded. And, I'm so passionate about this. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. But
No, you're saying something though, cause like we don't have like the superstar artists like they had like in the past times. Like, like music, other art forms have it, acting, performance art, different things like that. It's not I see what you mean though. It's not celebrated in the same way it was in 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. There was one guy. He's like, if you ever just did a weird internet dive, you might have seen him. His name's Delano Brown. They called him the Entrepreneur. Have you ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a moment where it was like he was kind of turning into like a little art star. He was doing live paintings. He was collabing with hip hop artists and doing like he just disappeared.
Yeah.
It was weird. But I only brought him up because it was like he was kind of turning into a little art star, and it's weird that we haven't had more of those. Because I see great artists. Like I see some very talented people. Like when I'm on social media and things like that. So I feel like with history things ebbs and flow, and I feel like with you and your generation, y'all have an opportunity to take up that mantle.
Yeah,
So.
I think honestly. There's a delicacy now because you don't want to be a painter or artist in general and oversaturate your work. There's a lot of things that can devalue your artistry, and that's up to your discretion on what direction you want to go with your artistry. And some artists don't know what's healthy for their brand and what's not healthy for their brand.
Yeah.
And so, like with me, I know that I have an end goal with what I'm doing with my work. I have numbers and values backing up paintings that's going to set a scale upward. I have a whole system, right? And so I don't think a lot of artists have sat down and done the mathematics or have got the business classes and understand what is going to be pushed behind it. What's backing your work? Why are people investing into this, and what are they going to get in return from it? And that can be crypto, that could be anything, NFTs, it could be gold, it could be whatever, but your pieces have to have some sort of backing on it in order for you, when people buy your work and it goes into an auction, that's the reason why that piece is going for 20, 30, 40, 80,000, $1 million, $1 billion, and we've seen that with Basquiat's work, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of artists don't understand that system. And once you have a system and you know the flow of your brand, you're gonna see the upscale. You're gonna see, my sister knows the term for this sheet. When you're looking at your sales and your growth every year and it's starting to scale upward, you can tell by what time period your work needs to increase. You can tell by looking at your system. And a lot of artists don't. They just create and they sell. They create and they sell. But they have no documentation of their own to see exactly the performance level, right?
And that's not even just art. What you're saying is like, basically what you said is the system takes you to the next level. Like in anything you're doing, if you're just creating work and producing and then selling and you're kind of in that cycle, you're just hustling. When you get a system, you put yourself in position, and by putting yourself in position, you're making your time more efficient in the way your process goes, but also you're putting yourself in a position to be able to create more and also create more wealth in the way you're going about it and distribute it at scale. And so I feel like that's the next level in almost any industry. It's not even just art. You have to get yourself out of that mindset of just hustling and spinning your wheels.
And once I figured that out, it was over with. It was like, there's no way this can not work. You know what I mean? It's been working, and I feel like every person should do that, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean the only reason people don't do it, one, for the people that don't have the knowledge, that's one reason. But the people that do have the knowledge, it's hard to take a step back because that's what you're doing. You usually have to take a step back and stop what you're doing, and probably eat some loss up front. In the end, and it's that delayed gratification, to take some time to actually create the system, figure out, because you're going to when you create a system, it's just like anything. You're not going to make it right the first time. There's going to be some holes in it, and to refine the system until you got it into a way that works for you, and you can then, capitalize on it. Sometimes that takes years. They call 7 the number of completion. Sometimes it takes 7 years to become a master of whatever you're trying to create. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just got to be dedicated to, and that's why I was commending you for being dedicated to like what you was doing, because it's hard. It takes discipline. It takes faith. You got to have faith in what you're doing is gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So
there's truth in that, because I'm not where I want to be yet. Yeah, and I feel like it's gonna probably take about 7 years.
Takes time, man, but good things take time, bro. Like you can't rush it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And we see the growth. I mean, we see the growth. Hey, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see how far you continue to go, man. So we gonna
Yeah,
be cheering you on, man.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Y'all got any last words? It's about that time. Got any message for the people? Message for the fans?
Mm, message.
Message.
Be right. Just be who you want to be. Be who you want to be, man. My name is Ashe. It just means, speaking things into existence, and it also translates to healer. Heal yourself, first and foremost, and then be who you want to be, and it shall be done. So Ashe, say it, and it shall happen. That's basically what it is. And you should be able to understand in your life, there's nothing gonna hold you back except you. You know what I'm saying? There may be some outliers, but ultimately, the decisions you make and how you deal with it and handle it is gonna determine your outcome and your success or failures. So don't be too hard on yourself. Trust yourself, trust your gut, and go for whatever your heart is telling you to go for. If you need to take the risk to learn, then do that. Don't allow dodging failure to ultimately not put you in a space to succeed, because you're gonna have to fail in order to succeed. We failed. I failed numerous times.
Failed today.
You know what I'm saying? So don't allow that to scare you. That's just a hurdle. And once you get through them hurdles, I'm telling you, it's on from there. But I have merch as well if y'all want to just support. For some of you who may not be able to afford some of the paintings, it's okay. I have merch. I got some fly T-shirts. I got a little bit of everything. So just check out my website, asheselah.com, ASESELAH.com. Also prints as well. I sign those, and they're limited edition, so you don't have to also worry about not being able to have something that's valuable, because those also are going to scale. I have a plan as well and a system for those. So, but yeah, man, that's my message, man. Just love yourself more than anything else.
Yes, sir.
All in audio experience.